Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on Porno for Pyros' debut album from 1993. Porno Pyros were led by Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction. Jane's Addiction had, I guess they had three albums before this at the time, and then they end up doing an album in the later 90s, and I think maybe two other albums in the 2000s. He's been in the news lately. um, but Perry Farrell's James, it's there's a handful of bands that I remember back from we used to do. I was really into skateboarding. Who wasn't? And if you lived in LA and you weren't skating in the 80s, it was like everybody was a skateboarder. But I was skateboarding in like 86, 87, 88 was like the prime time. It's some of the best memories of being a kid of skateboarding and Search for Animal Chin and Pal Peralta and Santa Cruz and Vision, Sims, GNS. There's so many great skateboarders in those time, and I love the skateboard culture, and I love the designs of the skateboards, and we used to spend. I mean, me and my brother and we had a couple friends. Actually, we had three or four friends on our street that skateboarded. So our particular house had the most area for skateboarding, most cement and little obstacles and stuff like that. And so it seemed like everybody used to kind of come to our house and skateboard, and so we would have kind of our thrash sessions, and we used to record them. And I wish I had those videos, but we used to record each other doing skateboard movies. But we'd also like bring out the boombox and play stuff, and there's a good like 10 or 15 bands that we used to play all the time, and the neighbors would play, and we used to skateboard and thrash to those music. I can remember, and it was a mix of style. It was so LA for the time. Like we played BC Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J. Those are three hip hop that I remember from those days. This was even before Public Enemy, so I was a big Public Enemy fan in 88, 89, 90, but this is before that. So the first rap cassettes me and my brother ever had, LL Cool J, I'm Bad, which was 87, Licensed to Ill, BC Boys, of course, and Run DMC, Tougher Than Leather. And so those albums, and then we had Jane's Addiction, Fishbone, Guns N' Roses. I'm blanking on some other ones. Oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So we had a mix of like sort of like punk and metal and sort of and hip hop, and that's kind of what we skateboarded to. I mean, we had some. I guess we had some circle jerks and germs and stuff like that too, and GBH and stuff like that. But I can like that. Listening to those bands like takes me back to those times when I was a kid and we used to just skateboard, and so Porno Pyros is even if since it's an extension of Jane's Addiction, it just reminds me of those days, and so Perry Farrell's voice and stuff always reminds me of skateboarding in those days, and those are great memories that I had of skateboarding. I don't know if you guys are skateboarders, but my first board was I had a Vision Shredder. Then my second board I had a McGill Pal Peralta with the snake through the mouth, the vert board. And then my favorite board, my last skateboard, 1988, man, I wish I still had it, was my Neil Blender GNS Coffee Time skateboard. It was a white mini with, man, that board, if I had that board and it was like in good condition, it'd be like a $2,000 board. Maybe a $1,000 board, but I wish, one of these days I want to get another one of those boards. I do have a couple skateboards, without, that are on the wall and stuff like that. One I got a Hammerhead, Hosoi, and then I got Caballero. But man, I love the artwork in those days and the skateboards, and I I used to do the finger puppets with the skating little boards. Those are great times. But yeah, it just reminds me so much of those days, and when I listen to every time I hear Perry Farrell's voice, or again if I hear Fishbone or 24 Spy or Jane's Addiction or some of those bands, it just takes me back to those days. Um, so yeah, I was I've always liked Porno Pyros since this album came out. So we're gonna do a review on it, and now it's just 31 years later. Uh, my favorite songs on here: "Cursed Female," "Pets," and "Packin' 25." Jumping right into the review. Those are my three favorite tracks. I felt like Porno for Pyros kind of gave Perry Farrell a second life. Like he seemed much more at ease and so much less stressed. It was almost like if he could mold the Jane's Addiction for himself, that would be Porno for Pyros. He just felt comfortable in it. It's a good album. They did one more album of it. I have that album too. I'll probably review that album too. It's sad that he didn't continue to do more music under this name and really kind of get his creative output. But I suppose he got into more such other things like Coachella or Lollapalooza and all that stuff. And all the things he's involved in. I suppose he didn't have time for doing a side band, but I wish he would have kept Porno for Pyros going as much as Jane's Addiction. Um, I like that they didn't really give in to any fads at the time. So this is 1993. Obviously, grunge music is huge. This still sounds like a Jane's Addiction album, and it's not just because of Perry Farrell's voice. Like it sounds like a Jane's Addiction album in many ways. Yeah, the instrumentation isn't the same as Jane's Addiction, but I think it's kind of a little bit updated and it's kind of a little bit different in a cool way. The mixing and the production are really solid on this album. A good mix of upbeat and some surprisingly more mellow ones that have a good mellow vibes and sort of a good sort of more mellow. I wouldn't say jam like a jam or a groove, but Blood Rag, Black Girlfriend, and Orgasm all have sort of especially all of those towards the end have a nice, maybe a last 3 minute, 4 minute pops or a normal Jane's Addiction song. They kind of have a little bit more ups and downs and a little bit more of a groove to them. I suppose a little bit more groove, So there's some good vibes on those songs as well. So a lot of good things about this album. Probably when I think of the opportunities of the album, there's always some times where Jane's Addiction some Jane's Addiction songs sound like other ones. So some Porno for Pyros songs sound like other of them. There's a couple on here that sort of sound like other songs on the album. It's hard to differentiate maybe a couple of them from something else. Like, oh, this is this track, But it's just because they sound sort of like a little bit like the other albums. And these aren't the obvious ones, the ones that I like more. It's just the ones that are sort of in the middle range. They sort of sound like other songs in the middle range. As far as the songs individually, Sadness, 2.25 stars. Porno for Pyros, 2.5 stars. Miha, 2.5 stars. I think that's how you pronounce that, right? Miha. Cursed Female, my favorite track on there. Kick-ass guitar, drumming, tribal. Perry's voice, harmonica sound. Awesome song. Love the content too. It's really cool. Way ahead of its time. Very cool. 3.75 stars. Cursed Male is a really total 180 from Cursed Female. And not just like a bad way or anything like that, but just totally different. Which makes sense, male and female. Although it's kind of closer now than they've ever been. 2.5 stars. Pets, 3.75 stars. Also tied for my favorite. Classic. So simple and so good. What can you say? Like, it's so catchy. Pets, great song. So unique too. That's what kind of also is kind of like that Jane Says or the Mountain Song, or it's kind of that one outlier where it's just an unforgettable song, and it works so good compared to in combination with all the other heavier songs. Track number 7, Bad Shit, 2 stars. Packin' 25, killer drumming and guitar, nice funk in here, 3 stars. Black Girlfriend, 2 and 3/4 stars. Funky, laid back, nice combo. Blood Rag, 3 stars. Orgasm, 2 and 1/4 stars. So I got 30 and 1/4 stars divided by 11 is a 2.75. So I got that right around a 66 out of 100 on the beginning of the high side of a good. It's almost I wouldn't say it's close to being a very good album, but it's on the higher side of being a good album. I think it's a strong album, and considering all the music's out there that's highly regarded for 92 to 94 like rock music, I feel like this one's kind of forgotten about, and it's a shame because there are some really strong songs on here. And I think overall it's a good album, and there's not a bad track on here. There's I didn't write any. I didn't put any song lower than 2 stars. I think every song on here is good, at least good. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Porno for Pyros' debut album, 66 out of 100. All right, thanks for listening.